Okay, so here's the other video. Hello, zombies. What's going on? It's still the 6th of November, and it's about 5 after 3 in the morning, West Coast time. So, I was about to talk about school, and then I just. No. I'm dealing with the time that I remembered and how things have changed me a great deal that I recall right now, but kept a blind ear and a blind eye to things, a deaf ear, they would call it, of what was happening. And from what the material my fellow students have been looking at, just one book just to get their information, so they can barely pass their course here. And the thing of it is, I'm looking at it from the other shit I've been dealing with, and then I have to put in the blanks. What? Nobody else can do that? They can't even do their own damn research. Yeah, I'm griping and grumbling about this one here. It's another dark log. So, from one particular book we're reading, we're trying to get as much political and military information concerning about what was happening between the Korean War and through the Second Gulf War. And they were still trying to get through the Vietnam syndrome thing. I really didn't think that there was a Vietnam syndrome. Nobody was talking about that in the 80s and 90s. Are you giving me shit? Are you kidding me? We're talking about economics. We're talking about voodoo economics. We're talking about trickle-down theory that wasn't working during that time. We're talking about not communist scares, but we were talking about food prices going up, oil prices going up, and jobs getting scarce. But we also had a war situation brewing. We didn't even realize it. Now, if the main troops were getting scared of they couldn't do the job like they failed in Vietnam, then I don't think people actually knew what the hell they were talking about. Neither did the author. To tell you the truth. The guy's name is Donaldson. And the book he's writing, he's given all these nice little juicy tidbits, but then the students kept picking up on the communist stuff. Where was communism coming up in the first place? I know Russia was having its own problems concerning about a government collapse. They spent so much money on the military to keep up their defenses. Aging ships, aging submarines, ill-equipped soldiers, not to mention a nuclear program crashing and burning on them. Chernobyl ring a bell? Back in, I think, the late 80s, early 90s, we actually had Chernobyl, which was a nuclear power plant that they had a fire and they couldn't put that thing out, but it finally put it out, and there was a lot of people that died from radiation poisoning, exposure to it. That area is forever a hot spot in Mother Russia. Nobody goes to it unless they want to die. And if you're a scientist, you have to go in there for a short time with radioactive gear and hope and pray that you don't get cancer or die from radiation exposure. Their ships are antiquated, their ships are rustballed. They hadn't had a good budget to keep up with the military as they used to a long time ago. They used to have a space program they copied out of us. They stole it from us. One time a shuttle goes up and comes back down. And then it's rust bucket. So the economy went to shit. They changed from Soviet Empire to a Russian Empire. Tried to be a confederation or something like that. I don't know. Changing to leaders of peace and not invasion. Well, the last time they had an invasion was back in the 80s through the 90s, and they actually had what they had, the Afghanistan situation. And in that situation, if I read it correctly, from the textbook we're doing, and then I had to cross-reference this one. I had to check out several sources. online, legitimate ones. And the communists were over there. They were talking about it. Then they got invaded. And after the invasion, we still had a fertile area in Afghanistan doing agriculture, which attracted our at the time, the DEA, our Drug Enforcement Agency out there. So yeah, we had operations happening in those days as well. And if that wasn't bad enough, they mentioned a little bit in there, but not too much in detail. And this is what happens when you go beyond a textbook when you're a college student. That you need all the information you can because a textbook is just not enough. You have to get more. Being a college student, guys, let me warn you this one. When you're coming into the program, it's nice to get the information from the necessary books and get a passing C, but if you want to get a B or an A out of a damn thing, you gotta dig deeper, dudes. You gotta do research. These kids, I'm gonna say it again, they're younger than I am, so they don't know their shit from Shinola. They're gonna nail me on this one. Go for it. I want to have a discussion about this one. You have to do your research. You have to go through outside your normal realms and give you a book. So, okay, well, get the information out of here. It's like doing a fucking book report. Screw that noise. You want to research on the topic? You research. It means you go through several books or several sources to put the information in a report to present it to the professor, hopefully in a format that's workable, legible, and passable. Maybe you get more than a C out of it. I was reading about Grenada, and I was reading about what happened in Panama. Grenada was just a 2 or 3 day operation on an island. Some of these guys wanted to be like Cuba, communists. Only they wanted more of a Marxist-Leninist attitude, and they fought. They fought the population on the island, and then the Caribbean nations, along with the United Nations, actually with the United States, they had to put it down. We built and propped up the democratic-controlled island, the government back in operation there. And if that wasn't fun enough, when we were having our drug situations here in the United States in the 80s, 70 through the 80s, we propped up one asshole in Panama, Manuel Noriega. It turned out to be another bully. We had to remove the bully. He was more into drugs, and now he was more into drugs and gangs than anything else. And he was threatening a lot of people. He built up his army. He built up an army. So we had to send an army, and navies, and marines, and air force. We sent our troops in. We didn't do like a massive scale like World War II, or let alone Korea or Vietnam. No, but we sent sufficient enough forces according to the reports I read. But because of miscommunication between divisions and branches, we did suffer wounded and we did suffer losses. But we also suffered wounded and losses as well, dealing with the Panamanians and the military that Noriega put up. Finally got the guy out. We chased him out with rock and roll, literally. We put up speakers. We blared his ass out of there. So we had him in, and then we took him over to the United States, tried his ass, and buried his ass in a Supermax somewhere. I don't know what the hell happened to him after that. I don't know if he's still alive or not. But he wasn't going back to Panama, that was damn sure. My brother was telling me horror stories about that one. It was part of the operation. He got into a firefight and nearly got his ass blown off. Injured by our own troops by friendly fire. Before my brother was passing, he was still cursing and cussing up the 82nd Airborne for shooting his ass off. Yeah, sorry. I got the bugs all around me here. But I've heard that story a few times, and I was laughing about it every single time. Well, shot you in the ass, huh? Of course, if his remark was a little bit worse than that, but yeah, things I miss about my brother. Little things like this I write into a report and put it into the assignments I got. Not just for the professor, but for the students to understand. When you're looking at stuff, you're thinking it's just past data, but if you know something about it, if you feel something strongly about it, just write about the damn thing. What's wrong with it? I don't get it with these kids. I don't get it with the people in the class. Put your personal stories in the damn thing. If you got something connected to history, do it. I get this fear and intimidation. Is it from the professor or is it from me? What, just because I'm an old fart and I scared the hell out of you with stories I've gone through? Are you the same way like your own damn relatives or friends that you know? My age bracket? Shit, I'm going to be turning 60 next year. I got people older than I am that consider me a kid. Maybe I am. But I've lived through a lot. And I'm seeing my country tearing itself apart, literally. I'm surprised we haven't had a bloody civil war. And that's the thing I keep expecting to have. And all the crap we have, we were warned about tyranny many times. We got it here. Now we got to deal with it. We're reading about tyranny in our books, but we're dealing with the current shit right now as it is. We read about other countries having it, and we were supposed to be the bastions of whatever the hell we were doing. Bastions of our own damn head games concerning about going against communism, all those fucking years. People don't understand. They read the text, but they're not putting it into a context or a perspective they can understand. If they heard other stories from other people trying to get a perspective or context, build it up in their head, realizing that they come across people from older generations that they may have had personal experiences with. Why don't they share that shit? What, too personal for them? I'm sharing about my damn brother on YouTube. What the hell's going on? Or my mother as well. Let alone my dog and me. So what's wrong with that? I don't get it. Maybe I'll get it, or maybe I won't. But if I'm going to be a pest, maybe be a pest, but I'm going to get through this class one way or another. That being said, guys,